Hello, so this is the third question in neetcode.io. Do some. So we will try to do some together. So as usual, this is for mostly for non-experienced programmers. I'll be doing this in a programming language called Java. So let's read the question together. Do some. Given an array of integer nums and an integer target, return the indices of the two numbers such that they add up to target. You may assume that each input will have exactly one solution, and you may not use the same element twice. And return the answer in any order. Example 1. So this is an array of integers called nums. So just to recap what is the indices. In Java, the first item in the array starts with an index of 0. So index is the singular word for indices. Indices is the plural. So this number 2 has an index of 0 within nums, 7 has an index of 1, 11 has an index of 2, 15 has an index of 3. So target 9. So it's called two sum. So target 9 should be made up of two numbers. So this is quite obvious. 2 plus 7 equal 9. So you want to return the indices of the two numbers. That's why you return 0 and 1. And here, 3, 2, 4, 6, 2, 4. 2 plus 4 equals 6. What is the indices of 2 and 4? 1 and 2. 3, 3, 6, 0, 1. So this question is quite nice in the sense that you say every input will have exactly one solution. So let's think how we want to do this. So like I said in the previous question, first thing first, before you code, you need to think about how you want to do this. The important thing is not the code. The important thing is how do you want to approach and try to solve this question. So yeah, you can see I'm not doing anything. I'm just trying to think, how do I want to solve this question? So I invite you all to take some time, especially this is very important for new programmers. Even though like it's good to just listen to me, yeah, you have to start thinking, how do I want to do this? Because this is not a matter of programming, it's just a matter of you as a person. When you see this, how do you want to get it? So give you a bit of time. And yeah. So I think the easiest way, right, is you go through every single number, you try to add from this number, like for example 2, you try to add, hey, let me add one more number, 2 plus 7. Okay, 2 plus 7 is 9, but let's say it's not, then, okay, this is not 9. Then 2 plus 11, is it 9? No. 2 plus 15, is it 9? No. Okay, then let's try 7. 7 plus 11? No. Okay, you don't try 7 plus 2 because you already tried 2 plus 7, right? So you try 7 plus 11, no. 7 plus 15, no. 11 plus 15, no. They reach here. Okay, 15, okay, no. Then sure. Okay, just now I say pretend it's not lah, but yeah, the first time you already have seen like 2 plus 7 is correct. So this is what we call the brute force method. So it is important, right, to always start with thinking about the brute force method. So brute force method just means it's the worst method in terms of space and time complexity. But this is necessary, especially when it's a very hard question, because it's better to get a pass than 0 marks. It's as simple as that. Like the best method with the best space and time complexity definitely deserves a full marks. But for new programmers, don't even think about that far. Just be happy you can at least solve the question. So this is the brute force method. The brute force method would be to use two loops. One loop for the first number and another loop, another inner loop for the second number. Okay, so for new programmers, I would recommend you just watch this video, watch me explain. Then after that, try to do this yourself. It is very important to try to do this yourself. Okay, so don't just watch already, then think you solve this question. No, try to solve it yourself. So to do this, we'll use the APC loop again. That was from I covered the previous question in valid anagram. So for int I equals to 0. So just to recap, this can be anything. This I, variable I as a data type of 0. This starts from 0. So while I is less than nums dot length, because this is an array, it is what we call primitive data type array. So for now, you just need to know that a primitive data type array, you can use something called dot length to get the length of the array. So this is the end. So this loop will only run from 0 till is less than nums dot length. So we will increment I every time. So you go from here, 0, 1, 2, 3, then you will stop. You can change this to plus equals 2, then it will be 0, 2. Then that's all you run. But we don't want to do that because we want to go through every single number. So plus equals 1. So here, this is the first number, right? Integer, first number, n. Okay, integer first number equals to nums of I. So first one, we get the first number of it belonging to index I from nums. Now, from here, we'll do for int j equals to I plus 1. While j is less than nums dot length j plus plus. Because from 7, we don't want to go back to 2. We want to go to the next one and the next one. Okay, so actually here, I realized I made a mistake here. The first number should only go from 2, 7, 11. It shouldn't go till 15. Why? Because that's the job of the inner loop. The inner loop is for the second number. So this should end at nums dot length minus 1. So that because that's for the first number. So for int j, so this is inner loop to get the second number. So copy the code here and then just change. Change this to j. Change this to second number. So if first number plus second number equals to target, then we can return the array. So they want array containing the indices of 2 numbers. So we can use the primitive data type array. So how do we do that? First things first, array is an object. Remember, like when I explained during the previous videos, to create a hash map, you need the word new. So to create an array, there's different types of ways to create an array, but for now, I'm going to teach you the first method. The data type of every single value in the array. The array with a square bracket. Then you can just do this, curly braces, shift and this gives you this. Then we put the number inside. So what do they want? They want the indices I and j. And other than that, because for Java, they expect whatever happens to always return whatever data type you put here. So just because the question says that there will always be one solution, you cannot just assume such as such. So what you have to do is, whatever happens, you have to return something of the type integer array as per defined here. So what you can do is copy this. So for every thing in every line in Java, you have to end with a semicolon. It's the same thing as a full stop in English. So 0, just return something here. Yeah, this is the brute force method. And try to submit. Okay, so that's the brute force solution. So the brute force solution, like I say, is the worst in terms of space and time complexity. Because remember what I say in the first video about contains duplicate? Sequential means you go through every single page one by one, right? So every loop is a time complexity of O n. And then because you are putting a loop inside a loop, so it will be O n times O n equals to O n squared. So basically, right, the higher the power of the time complexity, then the worse it is. If you're interested, maybe I might cover a video, or you can search it online, Google what is the time complexity, the graph, or it's basic math. The more quadratic an equation is, then the worse it is in terms of like complexity. So that's the brute force method. We don't really want the brute force method. I mean, it is fine for now if you're a new programmer, but yeah, let's try to achieve for excellence. That's what we are here for. So method 2, we can use in the hint because we are practicing ourselves arrays and hashing. We can use a hash map. So this will come with practice lah. As you do more, you can know what intuitively like what you need to use without looking at the title. But for now, new programmers, you will need to. Yeah. So, yep. So what do we want to put? The first things first, hash map. Integer. So I'm going to name this indices HM. So indices hash map. New hash map. So what do we want to do? Okay, maybe not indices hash map. Okay, so before that, I want to explain what do we want to do with this hash map. So we create it already, then we need to think, what do we want to, how do we want to use this hash map? So I'm just going to leave this out for now. I'm just going to call it hash map first because I'm not really sure. I haven't really explained to you how I want to use this hash map, right? So, okay, I just want to say I'm not the one who created this method. As you study, yeah, everyone creates this method. Everyone knows this method, but yeah, it's up to you as an individual to practice to the point that you can easily just know this method. But basically, for example, 2, 7, 11, 15, we can store the target minus n as the key, and then the index as the value, the index of n. So what do I mean by this? So for example, we're hash map, right? So in hash map, we typically denote a hash map like this. In Python, Java, not really. Yeah. But basically, for example, so we use a for loop to go through this array first. The key we have, n is 2, right? So 9 minus 2 is 7. So we store 7 as the key because target minus n. Then we store the index of n as the value. So n just now was 0. Then we go to 7. So as we look through the array, if target minus n is already in the hash map, we can return index of n as the value and the other index together. So previously from 2, we have 7 and 0. Now we have 7. We look. Okay, so if n is really in a hash map, so we look, oh, 7. 7 is already in the hash map. So this means target minus n, which was in the previous one, plus n, which is what we are looking at now, the new n, together they form target. So index 0 and index 1 is the answer, because this question says there's only exactly one solution. Okay, maybe let's go through one more time. So nums equals to 3, 2, 4. Target equals to 6. So maybe I'll just type it now first. For in I equals to 0, I is less than the nums dot length I plus plus. If, okay, so first things first, in n equals to nums of I. So we use indices loop to loop through nums array. So this is value of n. Value of n at array nums whose index is I. So first things first, we ask ourselves, is n already in the hash map? So here 3, 2, 4, right? I equals 0, 3. Then we store 6. We ask ourselves, is 3 inside the hash map? Not yet. So we store target minus n, which is 6 minus 3 as the key, and the index as 0. Then after that, we have 2. Is 2 in the hash map? No. We store 6 minus 2 as the key, 4, and index 1 as the value. Now we go to 4. Is 4 inside the hash map? Yes. So you can return 1 and index 2. That's what we are trying to code here. So is n already at the hash map? So if hash map dot contains key of n, then we can return new int hash map dot get n. So this returns the value, which is the value of the the value of target minus n, which is the index of target, which is the index of the, okay, sorry. So hm dot get n will return the first index of the number that's needed to form target together with the current n. Then we also return I also. So if it's not already in the hash map, then we will store hashmap dot put. Hashmap dot put what? The key. What do you want to put? You put target minus n and the index. So like I said just now, you have to return something regardless, because the code doesn't know that the question says exactly one solution. So we can try to run this now. And submit. See you.